Film production requires massive investments of money, time, and energy. Film crews work non-stop day and night to bring the best possible experience to their audiences. Although most film scenes are carefully planned in advance, there are moments when scenes are created without a script and entirely spontaneously. This approach often leads to achieving maximum authenticity and maintains elements of naturalness. Sometimes actors resort to brilliant improvisation, whether it involves filming intense intimate scenes or keeping script details hidden from the actors to capture their genuine and spontaneous reactions. The world of cinema is full of such examples of unexpected and unplanned scenes. Today we're going to look at 10 movie scenes that were created completely authentically and realistically. Number 1. Django Unchained. In one scene from the movie Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio, playing the character of Mr. Candy, had an outburst of anger during which he smashed a glass on the table. In the process, he injured his hand and started bleeding, surprising both himself and everyone else on set. Leonardo DiCaprio smeared his bloody hand across the face of Brumhilde von Schaft, played by Kerry Washington. Her character, a slave on the plantation, was horrified by this act. DiCaprio stayed in character, gesturing with his bleeding hand and continuing his racist monologue, which shocked and disgusted his dinner guests, including Django, played by Jamie Foxx, and Dr. King Schultz, portrayed by Christoph Waltz. After filming, DiCaprio received a standing ovation from his colleagues for his bold performance and brilliant improvisation. Number 2. The Princess Bride. Rob Reiner's 1987 American fantasy comedy film, The Princess Bride, stars Cary Elwes, Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, Chris Sarandon, and Andre the Giant. Directed and co-produced by Rob Reiner himself, the film was adapted from William Goldman's 1973 novel of the same name. The story follows a farmhand named Wesley, who must rescue his true love, Princess Buttercup, from the evil Prince Humperdinck. Wesley is joined by friends he meets along his journey. Cary Elwes, who played Wesley, actually suffered serious injuries during the filming. In one scene, when Cary's character is knocked unconscious by the evil six-fingered Count Ruggin, played by Christopher Guest, the hit was originally supposed to be faked to avoid injury. However, it didn't look realistic enough, so the scene was changed to include an actual strike, though not meant to be hard enough to cause harm. Unfortunately, Christopher got a little carried away and hit Cary so hard that he was genuinely knocked unconscious, making the scene even more realistic. Due to the severity of the injury, Cary had to be taken to the hospital. The film premiered in the United States on September 25, 1987, and was praised by critics at the time. Although it was only moderately successful in theaters initially, it eventually gained a cult following and has been celebrated as one of the best films of both Rob Reiner's career and the 1980s. Number 3. Back to the Future. The third and final film of the Back to the Future trilogy was released in 1990 under the title Back to the Future Part 3. Among the main stars, Robert Zemeckis included Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Mary Steenburgen, Thomas F. Wilson, and Leah Thompson. The story picks up immediately after Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty McFly got stuck in 1955 during his adventures and discovered that his friend, Dr. Emmett Brown, was killed in 1885 by Buford Mad Dog Tannen, the great-great-grandfather of Biff. Marty travels back in time to save him, but the situation becomes complicated when Doc falls in love with Claire Clayton. In a scene from Back to the Future Part 3, where Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, is hanging from a rope, many rehearsals were done to ensure that nothing would go wrong and no one would get hurt. During practice, everything was perfect because there was enough space between the rope and his neck to prevent injury. However, during the actual filming, the rope was pulled too tight, and his reaction to being hanged was incredibly real as a result. No one on set realized something was wrong until he passed out Initially, everyone thought he was acting, but fortunately, he was revived in time. Number 4. Inglourious Bastard. The 2009 war film Inglourious Bastard by Quentin Tarantino stars Brad Pitt, Christoph Waltz, Michael Fassbender, Eli Roth, Diane Kruger, and others. The movie presents an alternate history involving two plots to assassinate the leadership of Nazi Germany. One devised by Shoshana Dreyfus, a young French-Jewish cinema owner, and the other by the British, but executed by a team of Jewish-American soldiers led by First Lieutenant Aldo Raine. In one scene, Diane Kruger's character is strangled. Naturally, director Quentin Tarantino wouldn't actually strangle her, but he decided on a different approach. He explained to Diane that Christoph Waltz would be the one strangling her because he wanted the scene to appear extremely authentic and make the act of strangulation look real. Diane was genuinely choked during the filming of the scene, and her reaction in the movie is incredibly believable. Inglourious Bastard earned over $321 million in global box office revenue, making it Tarantino's highest-grossing film until the release of Django Unchained in 2012 and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in 2019, which surpassed it in earnings. The film received generally positive reviews, with some praising Waltz's performance as Hans Landa, while others criticized its historical inaccuracies. It also earned numerous awards and nominations, including 8 Academy Award nominations for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. Christoph Waltz won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival for his portrayal of Landa, as well as a Golden Globe and an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Number 5. Now You See Me. The 2013 film Now You See Me is an American heist drama directed by Louis Leterrier. The screenplay was written by Ed Solomon, Boaz Yakin, and Edward Ricord. The movie stars Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher, and others. The story revolves around an FBI agent and an Interpol detective pursuing a group of magicians who perform bank heists and distribute the stolen money to their audiences. In Now You See Me, Isla Fisher's character had to perform a magic trick inside a glass tank, from which she had to escape before flesh-eating piranhas were released. In the scene, she struggled to free herself but failed and began to drown. During the filming of the scene, Isla Fisher was actually in a giant water tank and wasn't just pretending to drown. She was genuinely drowning. She couldn't free herself quickly enough because her chain got caught on her costume, and she started to panic, while everyone on set thought she was giving an incredible performance. She was rescued after struggling to escape the tank for 3 minutes. Now You See Me was released by Summit Entertainment in the United States on May 31st, 2013, after its premiere in New York. The film received mixed reviews, with the ending being particularly criticized, but it became a commercial success, earning $351 million worldwide on a $75 million budget. The film was nominated for an Empire Award for Best Thriller, a Saturn Award for Best Thriller, and a People's Choice Award for Favorite Thriller Movie. Number 6. Fight Club. In the film Fight Club, although it primarily revolves around how hard someone can hit, the actors certainly weren't looking forward to bruises and scrapes. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt trained in wrestling, boxing, and taekwondo, and studied mixed martial arts to physically prepare for the violence in the movie. The scene where Edward Norton punches Brad Pitt in the ear wasn't in the original script. At the last moment, director David Fincher instructed Norton to hit Pitt in the ear instead of the shoulder as originally planned. As a result, Brad Pitt's reaction was completely genuine in every way. Number 7. The Lord of the Rings. The 2002 film The Lord of the Rings. The Two Towers is an epic fantasy adventure directed by Peter Jackson. It is the second installment of the trilogy, following The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring from 2001. The movie stars Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Liv Tyler, Viggo Mortensen, Orlando Bloom, and others. Viggo Mortensen played the character Aragorn, And in one scene where Aragorn discovers the bodies of his hobbit friends, he collapses to his knees in complete agony. However, in this scene, nothing was faked. In reality, Mortensen broke 2 toes when he kicked a helmet lying on the ground. When he kicked the helmet, he fell to his knees and screamed in pain. It was assumed his cries were out of grief, but the real cause was his injury. The film received positive reviews from both critics and audiences. It was hailed as a milestone in the film industry and a triumph in the fantasy genre. It was praised for its direction, action sequences, performances, music, and visual effects, particularly the character Gollum. The movie grossed over $936 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film of 2002 and the 3rd highest-grossing film at the time of its release, trailing only Titanic and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Number 8. Jaws from 1975. Steven Spielberg's 1975 American thriller Jaws, based on Peter Benchley's 1974 novel, stars Roy Scheider as a police chief hunting a man-eating great white shark preying on beachgoers in a resort town. He is assisted by a marine biologist, played by Richard Dreyfuss, and a professional shark hunter, portrayed by Robert Shaw. The town's mayor is played by Murray Hamilton, and Chief Brody's wife by Lorraine Gary. The first victim of the shark attack in Jaws was Chrissy Watkins, played by Susan Backlany. One of the film's earliest terrifying scenes shows the shark suddenly dragging Susan underwater. To enhance the authenticity of sheer terror, she was kept unaware of when she would be pulled underwater during filming. Since Susan didn't know the exact timing, her fear was completely real, and nothing in that scene was acting. Jaws was the first major feature film shot on the ocean and was primarily filmed on location at Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. As a result, the production faced several challenges, including budget overruns and schedule delays. Considered a summer blockbuster and a milestone in film history, Jaws received several awards for its music and editing. Until the release of Star Wars 2 years later, it held the record as the highest-grossing film in cinema history. Number 9. The Dark Knight. Director Christopher Nolan created the 2008 film The Dark Knight, based on a screenplay he co-wrote with his brother, Jonathan Nolan. It is a sequel to Batman Begins, 2005, and the second installment in the Dark Knight trilogy, based on DC Comics superhero Batman. The story follows Batman, Police Lieutenant James Gordon, and District Attorney Harvey Dent as they work together to combat organized crime in Gotham City. Their efforts are disrupted by the Joker, an anarchist criminal mastermind determined to push Batman to his limits to save the city from chaos. The cast includes Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger, Gary Oldman, and others. Heath Ledger spent 6 weeks in a hotel room with the approval of writer and director Christopher Nolan to develop the character of the Joker for The Dark Knight. The result was a psychopathic prankster who threatened everyone around him with his dark humor and violence. In one scene, the Joker leaves Gotham City Hospital, triggering a series of explosions behind him. Outside, he attempted to set off the final explosion by clicking the detonator, but nothing happened. Ledger frowned and started hitting the device, and only after one of his hits did the explosion finally go off, surprising even Ledger himself. The innovative marketing campaign for The Dark Knight aimed to counter criticism of Heath Ledger's casting from those who initially believed he was a poor choice for the Joker. In January 2008, Ledger tragically died from an accidental overdose, sparking intense media and public interest in his role. The Dark Knight premiered in July 2008, breaking multiple box office records. It became the highest-grossing film of the year, the 4th highest-grossing film of all time, and the highest-grossing superhero movie ever at the time. And that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. If you enjoyed it, please help me grow this channel by commenting, liking, and subscribing. Hours of effort went into creating this video, and it only takes a moment for you to support me.